I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for a very, very, very long time, predominantly working in respiratory. And I work with nipples. So I actually reconstruct realistic nipples via tattooing areolas on ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between.
Where did that kind of happen? Where did it come from for this to be a thing that you started, I guess, changing people's lives, I guess, giving back?
So I've always been a very creative person, and with my background of being a nurse, I think the pandemic hit me really, really, really hard. Definitely some PTSD there from the sort of things that I saw. But being really honest, alcohol, it's not a lot of people know this, but I had a really bad time with alcohol because I was living alone. Right. And I didn't want to be around, obviously my family are in Yorkshire, I'm in Derbyshire.
Yeah.
But there probably was an option to live with other people, but the last thing I want to be doing when I'm smothered in COVID is taking it back to other people. So I lived alone, and I guess the only thing that would help me sleep at night was drinking.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your host, Luke Beastall. We're back in the studio today with, well, I'm going to introduce just in a second, but she is probably a guest that will take you all by surprise in what she does. It's a very niche actual area, but we are going to delve into that just in a second. But as you know, I always love for you guys to give us any feedback, share any comments below on what you're taking away from this episode, and please do like, subscribe, and share with people that would benefit from an episode like this. So, first of all, Emma is in the studio. I'm just going to introduce her in a second, but as you know, I like to share a little bit about how we connected. Alfie, if you're watching this, my friend, thank you so much for connecting us together. I know you've done some great work with Emma already and connected that way. Well, here we are. Emma's in the studio, and we just connected via social media, and I like her energy. I think what she's doing in terms of awareness for the world is something that definitely needs to be more out there, and that is the reason why I'm super excited to be having her on the show and actually in the studio today. So Emma, best known as the Nipple Nurse.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So it is a pleasure to have you, and obviously we've kind of been back and forth, and we've said how excited we are to be in the studio sharing this story. I think, for people that are watching this today and kind of coming in, obviously they've probably heard me just say the Nipple Nurse. Yeah. What is this all about? Could you give us a little bit of an insight to what it is that you do? Okay,
we'll go on the latter word first. So I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for a very, very, very long time, predominantly working in respiratory. And I work with nipples, which most people don't like that name of nipples, areola. So I actually reconstruct realistic nipples via tattooing areolas on ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. After having a mastectomy, I create a new nipple on people that have had their breasts removed, which is a very niche, weird and wonderful market, an absolute pleasure to do. But yeah, that's kind of it. That is what I do.
Yeah, but that's really good though, and I'd just love to know, where did that kind of happen? Where did it come from for this to be a thing that you started, I guess, you're changing people's lives, I guess, you're giving back?
So I've always been a very creative person, despite being a nurse. Ever since I was little, anything that I could ever get my hands on, like I was talking to you about earlier, whether it be Play-Doh, anything, drawing, painting, anything, I've always been extremely, extremely creative. And with my background of being a nurse, I think the pandemic hit me really, really, really hard. Definitely some PTSD there from the sort of things that I saw. And I just thought, you know what, I honestly don't think that I can do 12.5-hour shifts for the rest of my life. As you know, I work predominantly night shifts. It ain't good for anyone. I can't do this forever. And I've always wanted my own business. So how could I piece these two things together? So without getting too technical and medical, throughout the pandemic, we were seeing many people that were coming in that had COVID. And as part of that, they were... individuals would have chest x-rays to see how bad their chest was, etc. And we actually found a massively astounding amount of people when they had these scans that they got breast cancer. No which, way. Exactly. You think you're coming into hospital with COVID, something that especially through the second wave, was not necessarily preventable, but we could treat it, you know? And then to find out you've got something like a stage 4 breast cancer is awful. And I think the main thing that spurred me on to do this is I remember looking after a lady that was the same age as me. Well, not much older than me. At the time, I think I was 27, 28. Right. She'd found out she got breast cancer. Yeah. Obviously, very lonely and awful place to be. And I'd sort of seen her through her journey, kept in contact with her. And I'd seen her in different parts of the hospital, like doing extra shifts and things in different areas of the hospital. And I was actually there at the start of her journey when she found out she got breast cancer. But I was also at the end of her journey as well when she passed away. And as one of the parts of the job as a nurse is when somebody unfortunately does pass away, we have to do something called last officers, which is where we have the pleasure of preparing somebody's body for mortuary. Okay. And I remember seeing this woman that was like how I would probably have described myself at the time, like quite confident, you know, really interested in the way that she looked and took pride in her appearance, to then having no breasts, no hair. Yeah. And I think it just sort of ignited something inside of me of how could I make somebody in that state feel good about themselves again. And I know that feeling good on the outside doesn't necessarily heal you on the inside, but it certainly does help. Yeah. So I started doing some research into it. I mean, I've always been the nurse that, you know, I'll use my break times to brush your hair and, do you know what I mean, make all the little old ladies look pretty. I've always been that nurse. Like, I've told you I wanted to be a hairdresser when I was like a little girl. And I just thought, what can I do? So I started researching into breast cancer, but like heavily down a rabbit hole of breast cancer and what things can be done to make people feel good. So whether that's, you know, I went down a route of looking at different wigs that people could have, but then I predominantly then started looking at certain padded bras that you could get, and I realised that there was such a lack of service available, apart from charity work, like on the NHS, there isn't much aftercare, and like it breaks my heart to say that. You know, I've got close family members with cancer, and I know even like with my mum, when she was going through chemo, depending on what kind of cancer you have, you would have to have a certain like grade of cancer in order to qualify for a certain wig, which most people don't realise that it's not that you go through chemo and you get given a wig. That's not necessarily the case. And even though I'm not in that position where I'm going through chemo or anything like that, I just know from looking after ill patients how much just like washing and blow drying the hair can, you know, just make yourself, you know yourself, like if you're having a bit of a bad day, if you go and have like a nice shower and dress yourself up, it makes you feel good. So that's what I liked doing for patients. So that was when I went down the rabbit hole of like, you know what? I saw areola tattooing online. It's not a service that is available on the NHS. There are a few hospitals that do it, but it's very few and far between. And when I really delved into it, a lot of the nurses that are paid to do this for a very for a day a month or whatever, their training is really poor. And they were leaving a lot of ladies and gentlemen with like blue nipples because they were not using like the right pigments, the right technique, the right needles. They just weren't trained properly. But this is not like every single hospital because, as I say, it's few and far between. So I then went on this mass rampage of being like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something with this. So I decided, I spent months on night shifts, and I mean months, researching the best places that I could go to have this training. But I thought, firstly, what I need to do is, yes, I am a creative person, but how how do I know that I'm going to be any good with a tattoo machine?
Yeah.
Anyone that has tattoos knows that like these like machines are really noisy and they're shaky. Like, how do I know that I'm going to be any good with one? So I actually looked at doing fine line tattooing first. So I don't know if you know what fine line tattooing is. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't, it's a different technique to tattooing. It's not like a traditional, conventional tattoo where it's quite thick. They're very fine and delicate.
I've seen the photos and stuff. Yeah.
Really pretty, lovely tattoos. So I went and did that training first, just so that I could more or less see that I was a dab hand with a machine.
Yeah.
And then I booked myself on multiple courses, like all around the country, to just learn as much as I could. I'm one of these people, if I want to learn something, I want to be the best of it. And that's something that's carried me throughout my whole career as a nurse. Yeah. I ask so many questions to the point that people get bored of me asking questions, and it's just because I want to know. And if I don't know, I'm going home and I'm researching on YouTube. Like, I want to know absolutely back up what you do. So yeah, I went on a rampage, did all of these literal rampage.
Come on,
get at me. Did all of these different courses and decided that I wanted to start approaching hospitals to get into hospitals doing this. However, as you know, it's been extremely hard. So for me, it was sort of, as any salesperson would when you look to book a course, oh yeah, like, you'll be able to do loads of this. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's 54,000 women a year, and that's just women alone. There will be women that are undiagnosed, are diagnosed with cancer every single year in the UK. In the UK alone. Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And roughly 400 men. So this is from 2023 data. Okay. So we're still waiting for the data from last year. But that's just diagnosed. That's not... I'm sure that there are many people undiagnosed as well. So I'm thinking, wow, this is at least 54,000 women that I'm going to be able to... Because I've got big dreams. That I'm going to be able to potentially help if they want this service. Yeah. Great. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be able to leave my NHS job and crack on. But was I able to crack on? No, absolutely not.
Wasn't as easy as that.
No, it wasn't as easy as that. So I did all of the normal things, and I set up social media pages, like your Instagram, Facebook, etc. And the first post that I ever put on was taken down within 24 hours.
All right.
And all it essentially was a before and after. A picture of
what, boobs or?
Yeah,
boobs. Okay, yeah, you're just showing the work.
Just showing the work before and after. Yeah. This is a service that I offer for free. No. And,
Did somebody report it then?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Even though there's the words in there like, this is post-mastectomy, it's surgical treatment.
Yes. Did you say, I bet you said like a medical professional.
All of it. Yeah, I'm a medical professional. And page got taken down and I thought, right, okay. Continued to do similar things to that, hiding the nipple, whatever. Page continued to get blocked. And I'm just like, all I've done is invest in myself and want to try and help other people. And I keep getting blocked from that. Like, how is this even happening? And so I had to really try and think outside of the box. How can I do this? And I'm not going to lie to you. I then went and rented my own room so that I could do this once a week. I couldn't even get people through the door because nobody knew about the service. It's not like you could go and tell your friends, oh, come in and help my business out and have a cheeky nipple tattoo.
I know.
It's not like you can do that, is it, you know?
Yeah.
It's not as easy as that. Like, oh, come to me and I'll give you a blow dry. It's not like that.
No, it doesn't come across that clear, does it?
Absolutely not. So I ended up investing in a social media marketer. And she said to me, okay, I understand that this keeps, like, she really understood, this keeps happening to me, but tell me a bit about yourself, she said. And I said, well, I'm a bit woo-woo. I like my crystals, I like the stars, I like the moon, I like the universe. And she absolutely loved it. She was like, this is amazing. That's what you need to inject into your brand and what you are. So she brought up this whole new concept and we've gone at it a completely different way.
Yeah.
And now the page is thriving.
Yes.
And people are seeing my work.
Right.
I then started going to networking groups, which you know yourself, I hate the word networking.
Yeah.
I hate the word networking. Never thought it would be a place that I would even be involved in. But I went to a local networking group, not putting much thought into it. And everybody was like, you need to go on LinkedIn.
Right.
And again, that was another thing that I was scared of, because I thought Meta and Facebook have continually shut me down.
Yeah.
If I start posting this stuff on LinkedIn, I'm probably going to have the same response.
Right.
And I didn't. It didn't get blocked.
Oh, wow.
And I think there was something crazy, like 15,000 views on this before and after picture.
Interesting. Yeah. Is it different guidelines? I don't know.
I wouldn't expect it. I can't say that I've looked into the LinkedIn guidelines just because they haven't blocked me.
No,
Otherwise, I would have been like, you know, trying to pursue somebody sorting that out for me. But yeah, never had a problem. It was Meta that kept flagging up, because I'm guessing it's like AI bots that sift through it.
Well, yeah.
If you use the word nipple or areola, they don't like that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So yeah, I went to a networking group and everybody there was like, "Oh, are you on LinkedIn?" I'm like, "No, I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm not a business professional." Do you know
That's
what I
what you
mean?
get for going business networking.
Yeah, I'm not on LinkedIn. So yeah, made the LinkedIn, amazing, and that's how I've come around to meeting all of these new and amazing people now.
Yeah, and this is good though.
So that's full story.
No, it's good though. I mean, the thing for me, what I've taken away from this though, Emma, so far is the fact that, you know, you had an experience. We're going back here a bit. You had an experience with somebody that pretty much you saw a little bit of yourself in her, and she was gone too soon. Okay, and you looked at it and you thought, do you know what? Even if they are at that point when they don't know whether, we all don't know whether it's our last day, whether, you know, but you have found something that you can do to help them feel a certain way, to give them happiness, to give them joy, for them to be comfortable in their own skin. I mean, for me, when I first met you and, you know, you said, and I saw the name Nipple Nurse, obviously I was like, and I can imagine everybody probably who's listening, watching this will be like, right, maybe I need to kind of like connect with you, find out what you do, because it's like pretty, it's out there, yeah. But like you say though, I think how you've not given up on what it is that you're so passionate about. Obviously, you're getting the world's against you, really, in a way. It feels that way, like they're shutting you down. Obviously, you've met somebody who's guided you. You've put in a different blend of your spirituality, and you know, I know we were talking before on how most of your clients now have got that with them, and you've attracted that, which is brilliant. For me, though, like I'd just love to know, because you really did piece that together. And we'll go on to like the people that you've spoken to and how you've got the message out there. But do you know when you felt like the world was against you? And, you know, you got shut down? Because, I mean, this is important for the audience to understand as well, because you're going to get rejection. You're going to get people stop you doing what you want to do. And but for you, it was a lot. Like, what did you do? How did you kind of get past that barrier to keep going and not going, oh, do you know what? I'll just stick to what I'm doing and maybe I can't do that just yet.
So I won't lie. It was an awful time, because my overheads were, apart from obviously how much I'd invested in it, it's not really a financial thing, but the first thing that I was thinking about in the morning and the last thing before bed is I can't get anyone through the door. Right. And the embarrassment of saying to my partner when he'd say, oh, who have you got in this week? And I'd be like, I'd lie and I'd say that I'd got people in and I'd go and sit in an empty room.
Okay. And how long was that, if you don't mind me asking, how long was that for?
From August to October.
So there was a couple of months where it was pretty...
couldn't get the word out.
Oh, right.
Just couldn't get the word out about what it was that I did. And like you say, it's not like you can just invite a friend down and be like, let me...
Yeah, do your nipple kind or do the
So how did I get over it, really? I think spirituality was probably the only thing that got me through.
Right.
Which might sound crazy to some people, but I just had faith that what I was doing was so good and could change that many lives. And I'd invested so much of my time, resources, energy. I was like, this is going to come back to me and I'm going to help so many people. And I'm not one to give up. I don't give up easily anyway, despite it smacking me in the face so many times. So I decided to do something even crazier when I had an empty room, and I tattooed my own nipples.
Oh, right.
So, I know this sounds crazy, don't everybody be thinking that I've got, like, flowers or anything there. It's not that. I just didn't have much colour there. So, I've always been a nurse that will, and I think it is an ADHD thing, I've spoke to you about this before, I like to empathise with people about how they feel about, how I can put a spin on things to make somebody feel at ease, or at least show that I have some understanding to a degree of what they're going through. So whether it be in nursing, whether somebody's having an injection or whatever, I'd always be like, oh, I've had this one before, it might sting a little bit. Oh, you might find that this happens or that happens, or this is completely normal, just to put people at ease.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So in my state of craziness, I decided, and because I had lots of time, to tattoo my own nipples.
So you were there showing them? Like,
so that I could see, so that I could tell people what it felt like, how long it would take, and what the pigment would look like and last like. So I'm not going to lie to you, the amount of time, and I think it's got to be an open space when you're doing something as vulnerable as that with people.
Massively.
The amount of times I'm just like, yeah, this is what it's going to, this is what it's going, this is what it's potentially going to look like. This is normal, and I can at least show pictures of what it is, because I can't post any of that online. I'm just gonna get blocked again. Do you know what I mean?
That trust though is, I guess, so much lifted, and people are like, I trust you if you're there displaying that right in front of.
If you've done your own work on yourself, like it must be. You can't be. You know what I mean? Yeah. It can't. Well,
they're buying you at the end of the day as well, and it is a treatment that I guess that they'll be really nervous about as well. So, like you say, you're making them feel more at ease. Yeah.
So I think having the mix of creativity and skill, knowledge. So I don't just mean the knowledge of the actual tattoo, but an understanding of, to some degree, obviously I haven't been through what that individual has been through, but I can, I understand what chemo is like, what chemo is used for, the cycles. I've been through this all with my mum.
Right.
The use of steroids, everything like that. I've got that understanding, and I think empathy is probably just something that is in you can't teach compassion and empathy. That's something that you're born with.
Yeah.
And the fact that I have the mix of that, I feel very lucky and privileged that I can provide this service and make people feel comfortable. So I feel like it is a really beautiful fit, and I feel like I found my calling. It might be in nipples, but I found my calling.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think just how you share that as well, and so openly, by the way, which I really appreciate, because I'm learning as I'm sat here, and I know people who are listening are learning as well about what you do. And I think this shouldn't be dismissed. This shouldn't be dimmed down, or like, don't talk about that. And the fact that you are actually teaching what you're preaching, like you've done it yourself, you are your own product, and you are actually saying, look, hey, listen, I get it. I've been there. Obviously, I know you've not been through the process, but you've obviously got your mother who has. There's an element of understanding. So I guess when they come into your treatment room and you're right in front of them, they're instantly feeling a sense of calm. And just out of curiosity more than anything, when these like patients come in, or these people that are, probably in a bit of a vulnerable state.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that they ask for the most from the treatment as a bit of a return for going through it? And what do they want?
Just to make them feel whole again.
Really?
The word whole comes up a lot.
Does it?
A lot.
So what did they kind of say? They feel a bit empty, or?
Yes. Or? So I had a consultation with a lady last week that's travelling really far to come and see me.
Really?
And she said that the closest place that she knew of to go to was the Isle of Man. And she said that her husband kept saying to her, don't worry, you don't need to have, she couldn't afford to travel there and have the treatment. And she said, my husband just kept saying to me, like, you're beautiful as you are, even though she's not got breasts, you're beautiful as you are, which I am positive that, like, she is a beautiful person.
Yeah.
But she said, I just want to feel like I've got some part of me back. I want to feel whole again.
Wow.
So to be able to give somebody that, but I mean, I know how, I've been for a blow dry this morning, Luke. I know how good I feel just having my hair done. Like I told you earlier, the lady that I had for the she'd not had breastfeed, she'd not seen nipples in 12 years on herself in the mirror.
Yeah, I know, that's...
And when I did her areola, her tattoos for her, as I call them, her tattoos.
It's a good name, isn't it? Tattoos, hashtag that one.
But when she'd had them done and then put a white bra on over the top, she'd already been crying, but she cried again. And she said to me, like, do you realise how much my husband is going to love these? And the smile that was, tears and smile that was on her face, I could only reflect that back from myself. I'm very open about my sexuality. I know that it's a big thing as a woman to want to feel sexy for our partner. As much as your partner can turn around and say that you look sexy in your gym jams with your hair slapped back and no makeup on, it's a big thing for me as a woman to feel confident and sexy bare. So when somebody's got a tattoo of a nipple that's not going to rub off and it's there permanently, oh God, to be able to give that back to somebody, mad. Is that not crazy? That you can do that for somebody?
That's what I mean. Like you saying it like that, you say it with such, like, you just roll. It seems so like, that's what you can do, and possible, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that possibility. I think, you know, for me sat here listening, I wouldn't think that was a thing. You
exactly.
know? And this is what I think is brilliant about you sharing this today, and obviously we have spoken before, and you know we've built like a friendship and stuff, and I think just people hearing this today, I just think they're going to come off this episode and be like, I've just been watching this episode, and this woman is an absolute machine. She's doing amazing things. Did you know this is even a thing? Like, people wouldn't even know. So you're raising awareness on that, and I think the fact that you've said that it's helping women and men, you know.
Yes.
I want to put men in there because, you know, obviously you've said about that with the data. You're making them feel whole again. I think that, I can't imagine that. I mean, that's happiness right there. You know, that's joy. That's amazing. I mean, obviously we can't all feel it through, you know, when people's watching through a screen, but you know when they first look back at it in the mirror, or when you, I don't know, however you show them.
Yeah, in the mirror, yeah.
What's the first thing that they say, and like, what do you feel as someone who's just done that for them? Magic. Really?
It's that, so I have a bit of an endorphin rush when I manage to do, if anything that I do, even if it's like giving somebody a gift or doing something as a nurse, when I know that I've done a job, whether it's saved a life, given good end of life care, I go home with that endorphin rush. And when I first started working in healthcare from being 18 years old, which was a long time ago now, that endorphin rush was probably nearly every day.
Right.
And as healthcare has progressed and it's got harder and more political, that endorphin rush is few and far between.
Okay.
And so the fact that I can do things on my own terms, like I said to you before, I'm very much the nurse that will stay in contact with people. And because some of these patients that I've looked after in HDU might have spent 3 months with me. I might have nursed them for 3 months. We've built a relationship. Yeah. I've seen them on death's door to watching them walk out of the hospital. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
To be able to... I've lost my trail of thought now.
Yeah, but you see, I guess you'll be able to give them back with the tattooing that you were saying.
Yeah,
that's
my trail of thought.
No, it's all right. No, but you were just talking about, I think, and I was going to ask you anyway, so it might come back to you, is with the NHS, obviously you had that endorphin rush. So you were talking about the endorphin rush, obviously, every time that you went in there. What changed? What do you think has been the biggest change in the NHS?
COVID.
Do you think, is that what
it had changed before that, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Like, whether it's patient ratios, whatever, or resources, lack of resource, should I say, but probably COVID.
Right.
I don't want to sort of say anything out of term, but I think COVID, the amount of horrific things that I saw, especially as like a leader in healthcare, being a ward sister on respiratory HDU, like the first COVID ward in Derby.
Wow. Yeah.
Seeing what I saw and having to lead people through that, my own staff through that, when it's unprecedented and I don't know what's going on. There was almost like an expectation that I would know things before them and then I could trickle it down. I knew nothing different to what they knew, but I was having to continually like raise the vibration every single day and make people be happy about coming to work. And particularly in, I think the first wave, although it was awful, the second wave was actually worse because we knew what was coming. The first time, we were running off adrenaline. We had the country's back in, everybody was clapping for us, which Like, don't get me wrong, it didn't pay your wages or like it didn't give you a better wage or anything, but it made you feel a little bit better about going to work. Whereas the second time, we knew what was happening, we knew what was coming, so it was a little bit, it was a little bit worse. But I think that was probably what I worked so hard through COVID, trying to lead a team, and I think that was probably what about broke me. And I always said to myself, if I started to ever even slightly lose my passion for nursing or caring for people, that would be the day that I handed my notice in. And I wouldn't say that my passion had gone, but I was chasing that endorphin rush more frequently than what I was when I first started.
Right.
So with doing what I do now with the nipple tattoos and the scar camouflage, etc., I feel like I am healing a part of me as well as healing somebody else, if that makes sense. Because I feel like I'm filling my own cup by doing that. I've said to you before, like when I do the tattooing, anything, sometimes I forget to even say to people that they owe me money for a treatment, because I'm like, God, this is amazing what I'm doing. Like I forget, I love doing what I'm doing that much that I forget that it's something that I'm like, I need to be paid for.
But that's obviously, you know, you can tell the passion comes across. I mean, I'm sure people will be willing to pay. Obviously, I'll be like, oh my God, tell me what I owe you, whatever, that kind of thing. But you know, with the tattooing, then was that just trying to backtrack a little bit, and was that before COVID that came to light, or was it after COVID? Before COVID, you started getting that like sort of passion for
I've always been a big drawer.
Drawings, obviously,
drawing, doodling. If ever like I'm even just sat on the phone to somebody, I'm generally sat doodling. It's just something that I've always done, and I don't really know what. Like I used to paint and all sorts as a kid. Like my granny used to have a craft shop. I was always dead crafty. But I think as you get older, you sort of sometimes derive away from your hobbies, and you don't. Other things happen. Life happens, doesn't it? So the fact that I get to do that now, I still get to be a nurse, because that was one thing that I was really scared of. Was, oh my God, I've done this, I've got all of these skills as like a HDU nurse, I can do all of these amazing things, and I'm going to give that up. I'm going to give up all that years of training and whatever. So it was and is a really big thing and scary thing to think that I'm not going to do that again. But I'm not unrealistic to think that I can't carry on doing that forever. I mean, I'm tired now. I'm 31. I probably don't sound it, but you know, I'm nearly 32. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And I actually just thinking of you saying that as well. I mean, obviously, the pandemic, going through all that, the pressure, everything that's going on, that nobody could ever, I guess, understand your position unless they've been in the NHS. But leading that team from the front, trying to keep everyone, you know, upbeat and stuff must have been so hard. So, you know, for you at that moment in your life, you know, what was life like for you outside of work? What did you do to keep yourself going?
That's the thing, honestly. The only like thing that I can say kept me going was probably music.
Really?
Walking to and from work, music. I used to tell myself, right, you can walk to work with your upbeat music on to get myself ready for the day, because I'd normally play a bit of upbeat music and hand over before we went out on the ward. And then at the end of the day, I'd listen to my calming music and walk home. But being really honest, alcohol, it's not a lot of people know this, but I had a really bad time with alcohol because I was living alone. And I didn't want to be around, obviously my family are in Yorkshire, I'm in Derbyshire. But there probably was an option to live with other people, but the last thing I want to be doing when I'm smothered in COVID is taking it back to other people. So I lived alone, and I guess the only thing that would help me sleep at night was drinking. And I had a really bad relationship with alcohol, and did that last for a while, or was it just COVID? I'd probably say like a good 14-15 months. Which is why I don't really drink much at all now. And I guess why I've had this spiritual awakening where I'm in a bit of a clean state of mind now. But yeah, probably, and that's really hard, like as a nurse, when I should really, I'm preaching to people that they shouldn't drink, they shouldn't smoke, they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. But I'm probably doing the exact opposite in order to just try and pacify myself to sleep at night. And I just remember thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than this. And there has been more to life.
Yeah, which I definitely do want to get onto. But thank you for sharing that as well, because I think, obviously, we know alcohol and certain things, drugs can be coping mechanisms. Obviously, you had an immense amount of stress. Obviously, you was isolated as well. I mean, I know a lot of people, and I can relate as well. When you feel so trapped, there's got to be some element of release, or some like, oh, this will numb me down a little bit,
Exactly.
the pain and that kind of. So I completely get that when you've got that suffering as well. But just in terms of like backtracking, because we was talking beforehand about this inner child and stuff like that. Obviously, you talked about when you was a child, you was Play-Doh, you was crafty, you was all that kind of stuff. What was your childhood like as a kid? What was you kind of into? Like what?
I had like the best childhood ever. Honestly,
yeah.
I can honestly say I had the most beautiful childhood. Best mum and dad, best grandma and granddad. It's gonna get me upset now. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Really, really, really beautiful childhood. Lots of walking, again, lots of crafts. Anything to do with flowers, I absolutely loved. Anything to do with dance, I absolutely loved. I danced a lot as well. I was always performing for mum and dad. I was always like a different pop star every weekend, And weirdly, like, even since I was a little girl, I never actually really knew that I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a hairdresser.
Yeah, you said that early, didn't you?
I wanted to be a
doing blow dries. You feel good,
I wanted to do something that made people feel good.
Yeah. But you do now.
I do now, so that's absolutely fine. And to be fair, like I say, I blow dry people's hair on the ward as a nurse, so it's a bit of a win-win. I just didn't get paid for it. It was all in my hourly salary, but I had a beautiful childhood, really amazing relationship with my grandparents, would stay at their house every weekend. But mum and dad were always amazing and very supportive. And don't get me wrong, if I would have said to my mum and dad, no, I definitely want to be a hairdresser and this is what I want to do, they'd have been like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But they always strived for me to do better. And I remember having like how they have like open evenings at school when you go like for careers development. And somebody from the NHS coming in to sort of show off, I think it was Sheffield Hallam University, I want to say, like the different careers and stuff that you can have in the NHS. And that was sort of like, I thought, do you know what, I want to be a midwife.
Right.
And then a lot of people said to me, oh no, do nursing first and then go down the midwifery route. And I just took it nursing. But I can't honestly say that I had a bad childhood, to be honest. I had a really beautiful childhood. But when I say inner child healing, I think because there's quite a large gap between me and I've got three younger siblings. There's quite a large gap between me and them.
Okay.
Mum would ask quite a lot, oh, can you keep an eye on your brother? Can you keep an eye on your sister? And I feel like I had to grow up pretty fast. And I think that's kind of where the caring side of me comes from, because even till this day, I'm still so overprotective of them.
Right, in a way, like mothering them in a way, or...
Oh, yeah. If they tell me something's gone wrong or somebody's done anything to her, right.
Yeah.
Let me get at it. Yeah. But, I can't honestly say that I had a bad childhood. I had a beautiful childhood, really.
No, and this is good, though. I mean, it's... Obviously, it was nice in a way. I'm not saying, like, I want people to cry on the podcast, but you could really tell it was good memories and stuff, because it obviously got you a bit emotional. But I think the fact that, they allowed you to be who you are, follow your dreams, and you can see that the caring side's coming out obviously from what you shared, definitely the creative side. I mean, I don't think they've ever told you that you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, they've always been very supportive, and I think that's really, really important in that. And I think I love doing this, going back through time, because I find the dots connect anyway.
Yeah,
and obviously we all have our highs and lows, right? I mean, I don't think anybody in life can truly say that everything's been perfect. But this is why I think you sharing it so openly, and how you've managed to build what you've built today, which is so incredible, I think just goes to show that really anything is kind of impossible. Anything is impossible. Anything is possible, should I say? I think
anything is possible. I genuinely think that.
I don't think people believe that, though.
I think it's the fear bit in your brain. We're all built, aren't we, to I would say that we're all built to have that little bit of survival mode inside our brain.
Massively,
But over time, like I've had this conversation with you before, if I have an idea about something, again, it's an ADHD thing, I have to do it sort of then and there, or really go deep down and delve into it, and I want to do this. Because if not, if I leave it over time and sit and ponder on the idea, that bit in your brain that sort of weighs up decisions will start to say to that fear bit will start to come in and say to you, but this could happen, that could happen, but what if this happens? But you know what if actually it turns out better than what you ever expected it to? And I never expected, honestly, the things to be going, I'm so happy to say this, like as well as what they are now, considering what happened at the start when I first started renting my own room and stuff. I can't honestly get over it. I'm mind blown. Yeah,
but I think this is where you have built a thicker skin with it as well. And obviously, I know hearing, and we'll get onto like what's kind of come from it. But we've got to remember though, there was what you've shared already. There was a 2-month period where nobody was in that room. You know, August to October, like you said. I mean, there's a lot of people that if they was to go to that would most likely
just give up.
First week. Not for me. I'm kind of, so, you know, for you from a mindset perspective, if you could share anything as this piece of wisdom or an insight or anything that you could say, if someone out there is like, you know what, your story is like literally so inspiring, I've got something that I want to do that maybe doesn't seem probably what people would understand. It seems like what you did, like niche in a way, it's different. What would you be saying to them if they've got that inside and they're not letting it out and sharing it with the world?
If you're that passionate about something, you will make it happen.
I agree.
If you are that passionate about something, you will make it happen. It might not happen exactly how you want it to. It might not happen as quickly as you want it to, but it will happen. And I quote that because out of anything that I have done in my life, whether it's nursing career, personal life, goals that I've had, I have made it happen because I want it to happen and I've believed in it and I've let time help me, if that makes sense. But if you want something enough, you will chase it. That's what I think anyway. There was nowhere, there was times that I would sit there, like I say, in that room and think, I'm throwing money down the drain here. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't want to be a failure. So if you are that passionate about something, you will let your mind sit and tick away about different ways that you can get around making it work. That's what I think. Where there is a will, there is a way, in the famous words of my grandma.
No, but absolutely spot on. And I think it's really great that the biggest thing that stood out for me there, what you just shared, is if you are really that passionate about it, you will find a way. No matter what. It will just, you'll do it. Like you say, but it might not come as quick as you want. Because I think, again, everybody, I guess, expects that. Well, if I'm going to say it once or I'll voice it out to the world, it's kind of got to happen.
No.
You know?
No, it's like planting a seed. You wouldn't plant the seed and continually go and dig it up to see if it's growing. You can continue to water it, wouldn't you? Until it blossomed and bloomed.
But I think just hearing that is refreshing though, because I feel, obviously you're in a position where, you're kind of still employed, you're building this business. So for you now then, looking at it from a whole, what has been, like, let's just like take a bit of a step out a little bit. What's been the hardest thing for you with having a job that you're doing all these night shifts, 12-hour shifts, whatever, and then building this business on the side?
Just that I'm spreading myself so unbelievably thin. Unbelievably thin.
Right.
So I've managed to reduce my hours already, which you know about, but I have handed my notice in. So I think when this airs...
Drum roll, please.
But I think when this airs, I will be fully self-employed. I'm just taking I've handed my notice in.
I really hope so, yeah.
Taking the jump, like... And I know for a fact that I'll float because I always do. Or I'll find a life jacket. I'll find a life jacket from somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to make it happen. I'm absolutely going to make it happen. But I think because I've spread myself so thin, I live half of my week as an owl, and then the rest of the week not. That transition period, finishing on a Wednesday morning, and then tattooing on a Friday, all day for 12 hours, and then having time to see family, get back to people, get back to clients, get tattoos drawn, market myself. The hardest thing is just that I am spreading myself so thin. But I think because, again, where there's a will, there's a way, I am allowing that to be, and I'll let myself go through that little bit of tiredness because I know that it's going to pay off, and it will pay off because I get to help all these amazing people at the end of the day. And if it takes me doing this for another year and going through that, I don't mind because I know how many people I'm going to make feel amazing, and that'll be endorphin rush times 1,000. So that's fine.
And that's actually really great. The fact that you've been honest about you spreading yourself thin, that's the hardest part. I guess it's, again, you wear multiple hats. Like you say, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You're running literally a business while still being there, present, full of energy for your role. So, business aside, what helps you fill your cup up? What helps give you energy? What helps rejuvenate all of this thin ice, this like cracks that start to appear? Because obviously you're going to be exhausted with all the things you do.
Yeah. So without sounding too woo-woo, I absolutely love anything to do with inner healing. Yeah. So whether that's a sound bath or meditation, journaling, drawing, reflection. I'm really lucky that I've got a partner that I can actually openly talk to. I'm very lucky that I have friends that I can openly talk to as well. Very, very, very close-knit family as well that I can share my opinions and I'll get honest opinions back from. But yeah, to fill my cup, meditation, journaling, women's circles, crystals, tarot cards, you name it. On the woo-woo scale, I am flashing like full on 10. But it's worked. It's worked. No. As much as people might think that I am absolutely nuts because I carry crystals around in my bra. If that little crystal... I do. I'm not getting them out.
No, I know. I trust you.
But do you know what? If wearing a crystal or having a crystal with me gives me that, because they've got all different properties. If I've got it with me in my pocket, my bra, whatever, and if that to me gives me some feeling of support for, I don't know, it might think that, I've got this, it's going to give me some protection, and I've got that in my pocket, I am hurting absolutely no one. And they're pretty as well. I'm hurting no one, so it's fine.
No, well, I don't think it has anything to do with anyone, really. It's what you want, and I think... No. When you're saying you're crazy, I mean, everyone's crazy in their own ways as well. I think
there's worse things to be addicted to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you spoke about alcohol, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I'll pick the crystals any day. They're much cheaper.
yeah, definitely. I mean, and for you then now with, obviously, the inner healing stuff, like you said, you're a 10 out of 10, flashy with that. What have you learnt most about yourself by going down that journey?
Is that I am resilient.
Okay.
Anytime now... that, like, if something's not going exactly the way that I want it to, I sit and reflect on it. Okay. And I think of the times that I shared with you earlier about when I recorded what my partner said to me. When I was at my lowest time, October 2023, I didn't even want to be on this earth anymore. I didn't want to be here. And... I recorded him unknowingly with his words of wisdom, and he said to me, and I remember saying to him, what if it doesn't get any better than this? And he said, but what if it ends up better than you ever expected it
Great response.
And that just like literally flowed off the tongue for him. I was like, bloody hell, where have you got that from? But he, like, God bless him, he really does care about me. So now, if something's not going right, I think of the amount of times that I've been crushed and heartbroken by things, and the times that I couldn't even get myself off the settee and I wasn't eating and I wasn't drinking and just not looking after myself. I managed to get through that, which was, below rock bottom. I can get through absolutely anything. Absolutely anything.
That's amazing. And, so in terms of, like, the time now you've been on this inner, healing journey, how long have you been doing this for? Would you say
2 years now?
2 years.
Like, heavily.
Yeah, heavily. Was it after? Was it 20? When was it?
2023 is when I didn't want to be around.
Okay.
But I'd already started sort of looking at crystals and what have you. But I would say my true sort of spiritual awakening, where I actually started surrounding myself with like-minded people and not hiding it from others.
Right.
Because I was a bit like, people are going to think I'm absolutely nuts. Yeah, but now it's got to the point where I just feel authentically myself, and if people judge me, I'm just like, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah. No, and I think, I mean, just, I know, kind of going a bit of a backtrack. I mean, obviously that's great that you just, I am me, I'm authentically me, and that's it. You know, when you said about you being at your lowest point in 2023, I mean, obviously your partner Tom, what he shared, I do love that. I think that's brilliant. And it being on a voice note, and he didn't even know. I think that's even better. But where do you feel that come from? Like, as a point for you to really, because obviously we've spoken about the tattooing and you'd found this passion, but do you know what? From the outside, maybe everyone would have saw it as like, oh my God, you know, you've got this passion, you're helping people. Obviously, you know, you work at NHS, you're kind of saving people's life, maybe giving them a new lease of life. But then for you, still in that period of time, you got down into a low place where you didn't want to be anymore. So I'd love to understand what do you feel, looking back upon reflection, made you feel that way?
What, that I didn't want to be here
Yeah,
anymore?
what made you feel that point where you just, you didn't?
I think because I did start reflecting on things that had happened through COVID.
Okay.
And the things that I saw, and I probably didn't surround myself with the best people as well. So I'm not from Derby, I'm from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Derby, because I was by myself at the time, I only ever was friends with people that I worked with, which, yes, we did have that common bond of we were nurses, but in actual fact, from like a hobbies and things perspective, didn't really have that much in common. So again, I probably wasn't authentically being myself. And when I spoke about the words, there's got to be more to life than this, I think that it wasn't just from a work perspective of there's got to be more to life than 12.5-hour shifts. It was more, there's got to be more to life than the hobbies and things that I have, really, which were going out and drinking and being stupid and probably all of the things that come with being in your 20s, really. And I think it all just, over a period of time, just burdened me, and I pushed it to the back of my mind. Like, when I was younger, I wrote a lot of poetry. To be fair, throughout COVID, I did write a lot of poetry, which I have started to recently share, but because I never openly spoke about my feelings, especially being in, like, the position that I was in as a ward sister through the pandemic, I didn't feel that I could trust and open up to people because I was in a position of authority. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I didn't really have many friends. Like, there probably wasn't many people that I did feel that I could open up to. And I never wanted to scare, like, mum, dad, partner, because I wasn't living with them at the time. I was living by myself. And if they're already scared of me being in a position where I'm working on a ward surrounded by COVID, they're already worried, you know, that something's going to happen to me in that respect. Why would I want to tell them that I'd got all of these, like, dark thoughts and things? It's going to scare them even more.
Do you know what, like, that's, I mean, I mean, not to put it on me or anything here, but I completely get that. The isolation period, I mean, when I was at my lowest, I was away from home. I was away from all my friends, felt trapped. You know, even though there was football, there was part of what we did. I wasn't by any means had the authority and was like a captain or leader or anything, but I just didn't feel like I could talk to them and open up. Even though I had family support, but I just felt they were miles away, which they were. Well, they were kind of, but they weren't a million miles away.
Yeah, you know? Sure.
But I think where you've just said there about it is that identity outside of work that is so important, and having a community of people where you can truly be your authentic self and feel like you know that guard can be let down, that you can just go in and just scream from the from the rooftops and people won't go whoa, you know. And I think that how you've spoken about this group of people that you've found, like spiritual awakening, you found your people. Yeah, you know, you found your tribe, but it's kind of like naturally, I guess, intertwined with your work as well. So it's like it's not just life, it's actually coming to business, which makes it even more fulfilling. Everything happens for a reason. In the words of Grandma Betty again. Everything does. Everything does happen for a reason, 100%. Yeah, but I think as well that, I mean, I'm just sat back listening here and, you know, obviously sharing it. It does happen for a reason, but it kind of really comes together well on, like, you know, where you are today and how you've gone through your childhood and it was all happy, and then you've still kept your creative side. Now you've just said about poetry's kind of coming back. It's like done a bit of a full circle, which is great. So for you now, being on this spiritual journey and then obviously bringing this into this new business, and, you know, by the time people do watch this, you're going to be a full-time business owner, which is pretty damn cool. Nerve-wracking as well. What's next for you? Like, where do you... I don't want to say where do you see yourself 5 years, blah, 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 but, like, where do you want to go next with it?
I'm taking over the booby world. Told you I'm going to be the tits of the NHS.
Tits of the NHS, I love that.
Not the tit of the NHS, tits of the NHS.
Could have a mix though, like just say it how it is, and just people could go, oh, she's a tit. But
I really, really want to get this service out on the NHS, like throughout across the whole country. I want post-trauma care to be accessible on the NHS with nurses or individuals that have had the correct training in order to do this. That's my plan. So I'm not giving myself any goalpost of I want to do this in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. You know me, I don't have business strategies. Yeah. I just have goals, and I will get there before I retire. I've got lots of goals, but I feel like that's my big one. Like that is one of the daddy ones, you know?
Yeah. So do you want to be like passing it down to these people, like teaching?
Absolutely.
Oh, right, nice.
But I think also the big thing that I would love to do is to raise awareness.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. Prevention is better than the cure, right?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
So by the time that this has gone out, the Pink Ball campaign should have been
it'll be
advertised and out, which is a scary feeling. Hopefully, feel it on the 1st.
Talk about that, just so people can understand. Feel it on the 1st. What's that?
So it's making the conscious effort to feel your breast, whether man, woman, men included as well, to feel your breast. Unless you're pregnant or breastfeeding or on your period, at least schedule on the 1st of the month to then check your breasts. So check in for any lumps, bumps, you know, anything that is completely abnormal. It's a big thing in the cancer community. But the reason that I have made the advert, which you'll have to put a link in for everybody to see, is that I find that because I am in that cancer community of seeing all of these amazing cancer warriors that are sharing out everything on the 1st of the month, we're just sharing it back into the same community. So I wanted to do something to raise awareness, to involve everybody, because cancer doesn't discriminate, right?
No.
It's you know, I wanted to involve a diverse range of people from literally all over the world in order to get them to know the amount of people that when I have asked them to be involved in this advert that have said, men can get breast cancer.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
But then I almost feel like part of my job is, it's not done, but when I even hear that response of, I didn't realise men could get breast cancer, I'm like, well, do you know what?
Yeah.
You've learnt something today, so check 100%. Your breasts. So there's a big thing on the 1st of the month, and it's just a reminder to check your boobies, because as I say, cancer doesn't discriminate. And you know, it could be that you find a lump and you go get it checked out and it's nothing, but it could be that you find a lump, you go get it checked out and it's something. But
is that what it is then? Just like if you feel it and it's a bit of a lump, then
or you know it's something abnormal. But this is the good thing about making sure that you check your breasts regularly, in knowing what your actual breasts feel like normally. So then when you do check, if you're used to feeling them, so check your breasts.
Yeah. End of the story. Check the
End
breasts.
of the story. Just check your bloody boobs.
No, that's good. Well, like you say,
it costs no money and it's seconds.
Yeah. No, that's no. You're absolutely right. And I know it's one of them again, in it, where people will be a little bit, this is weird. But nobody has to see. You can just do it in your own time and just double check.
Be in touch with your own body. But this is where, like, education, it really needs to come in schools. As much as I know that when I'm going to go around schools educating, because that is a big thing that I'm doing this year, I'm going to have 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old girls and boys laugh at me and be like, who is this woman that's telling me to feel my boobs? But do you know what? Even if that saves one life, it doesn't matter. I will have as many people laugh at me as they want. I don't really care.
No. But you know you're going to get that. I mean, I can remember when it was school and you had like even a little bit of sex education. Yeah.
But I was like that, though.
Well, you're going to be getting a bit giddy, aren't you? It's a bit nervous. You'd look at other girls and, you know, see what their responses are and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we should be feeling our own. But I know I'm that, especially from the spiritual side of things, I am so in tune with my own body now. Like I was saying to you, I knew that I was getting ill at the back end of last week. So I was like, right, Saturday, Sunday, I am doing absolutely nothing because I know that my body needs to rest. When you're that in tune with your own body, you know that something is wrong. So I urge anyone to go and speak to your GP. If something is wrong, go and speak to your GP.
Right.
Please.
A lot easier said than done, but I know what you mean. And I think raising the awareness, and like what you said, I think it's not a hard thing to do. You know, it doesn't require loads of different. It's just literally feeling it and then seeing if there's any abnormalities. Anything different. So that's really good. So obviously raising awareness, going into full time, tattooing people's nipples, doing fine line tattoo, poetry. Obviously, you've got a long list of things that you're doing personally, though. For you on a personal level, what's next for you there? She did say you got loads of personal goals, so I was just curious.
Oh, for my personal, I want to travel the world.
Yeah.
That's one of my personal goals, is I want to travel the world. I think we managed to do, I can't even tell you how many countries that we did last year when we went interrailing plus whatever. We've got a little, one of those scratch-off maps.
Oh,
and God, that's another thing when you scratch one off, it's like, I literally want to scratch off the whole of this world map.
Yeah.
I want to see the world. I want to embrace culture. I want to try as much food as possible with the person that I love. That's what I want to do.
Oh, epic. What's been the best place you've been so far?
Croatia.
Really?
I feel at home in Croatia. It's very much Italian influence. So really pretty. The best place that I've been to is, I think, I want to say Zadar, which is a beautiful little city. It's just really small and cute, and it's not really that much of a touristy destination, but it's got a sea harmonica, which, like, when the waves crash into it, it naturally plays like a harmonica sound.
Really?
So that's whenever I'm, like, meditating and I want to get to my Zen state, I am sat there, as I was in that state, with my feet hanging over the side, just listening to the waves crashing in and making this beautiful sound. Croatia, 100%. Beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful food, beautiful wine.
Wine's a killer, yeah. Wine's a killer.
Yeah, that was my vice. But, travel the world, and because I want this business to thrive, and it's going to thrive, I want the freedom to spend as much time with my family and loved ones as possible, because if there's anything that I've learnt in nursing, life is too short.
Yeah, and that is so special that you've shared that. And I think as well, running a business that's thriving, you know, it's going to do well, it's going to allow you that. But, you know, for you, I'd just love to know from now going into a bit of a business mindset here. So in terms of, obviously, you know that you have to be there in person with people for these procedures and for you to do the tattoo. Have you thought about, or like, what's your thought pattern around having time off? And that like you said, you've got all these aspirations and goals, but have you thought, like, what are you thinking about your boundaries? Have you?
I don't know. This scares me.
This scares. Okay.
So you know how I said to you this weekend, I haven't replied to anybody's message.
Right. Okay.
Oh, it has almost killed me, because I'm now in the back of my mind like, I've got all these messages to reply to. I'm gonna have designs and stuff to do. It's all gonna pile up. Okay. And the fact that I've already got a few. Like, I'm going to Malta in a few weeks. I'm going to Lithuania next month, and then Poland. I'm already thinking, oh God, I'm going to have a backlog. So I don't know.
But you want to enjoy the travel, though, right?
Exactly.
You're out being in business
so that's
mode.
something that probably over the next few weeks I really need to sit and look at, because I don't have a business mindset. I'm a nurse. I don't have a business mindset.
You do have a business mindset.
I kind of do, but I don't. Like, I've not trained that part of my brain yet, because at the moment I'm just sort of juggling full-time night work with a business as well.
Yeah.
Chucking a bit of personal life and family life. But hopefully once that nursing aspect has gone, I think, I don't know, I'm going to have some boundaries with messaging people back at certain times, only looking at my phone on certain times, probably going to have to get a different phone, I don't know. But that's just all going to come with learning, and that's why I like this podcast so much, because the amount of different things that you learn from different people that have been through similar experiences, that say, oh, do you know what, I wish I'd have done, if there's anything that I could do, I wish I'd have done this before, or I wish I'd have done this or not done this. Podcasts are like the best thing for that, because it's real life people sharing real experiences, because all they want to do is help other business owners. So that's where I really need to learn from.
But you've just actually said all the answers, though.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I should have my messages. Maybe I might need another separate phone. Yeah. You just said it all.
Yeah.
There you go. That is boundaries right there. You know the answers.
Yeah.
It's just, again,
actually acting on them.
Yeah, it's just making that commitment. But you know, for you, obviously, I can feel that. I mean, obviously, I know we've kind of chatted beforehand and stuff, and you're very into your travelling. You've done it a lot before. Obviously, I know you love travelling with Tom as well, and all that kind of stuff, and family. And it's really hard, obviously, when you're so much in the business. Obviously, I know you're kind of leaving behind a role, and you're going to get a lot of kind of time back. But it's just not forgetting and losing that. Yeah, losing that what you want to do personally.
Yeah.
In your professional life. So it would be actually really good. Just fast forwarding here into like maybe a 2026, 2027 version. It might even get you back on and actually talk about what's changed, because I think that'd be really good. Just obviously having this early stages of business to know where your business is and how it's been.
Yeah.
You know, as a reflection, because I think that's the hardest thing when I have conversations with business owners. And I'm putting my hands up here, by the way, because I am nowhere near somebody who has really strict boundaries, but I think that's the thing that is the hardest thing, when it's your business that you're super passionate about.
Oh, it's my baby.
And you love people so much because it involves people, to be able to kind of shut them off and be able to focus on things that actually are meaningful to you and do help in the long run, even though you don't see it initially. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my business. People are going to, run away, but it's not the case.
No, people will stick around if they want to.
Yeah, but I think what you've done, I just want to bring this up as well, because I think this is really good. People will stick around because what you're doing, which I think is a very unique approach, by the way, you said about obviously what you're seeing with the NHS and also with the aftercare of these patients and treatments. It's not there, but what you're doing is you're not only providing aftercare, you're actually providing it with a personal touch, which I think is really good. So you've got a professional element to it, you're qualified. You've got the experience, but you've got your personal side, which I think that blend is what people want, and that's connection, but then also a sense of belonging, which I love that. That's something I take pride in myself, especially like with what we're doing here. But I think I just wanted to bring that up because I think that is what's going to 1,000,000% stand out for you.
Thank you. I think that's what I've never really thought of it from that perspective, but what my marketing lady said to me is that's why I needed to be who I am online, whether it be woo-woo with the crystals, is people buy from people, right?
1,000,000%.
And I love the fact that is the feedback that I get from people, is when you come to me, it's not like stepping into, I don't know, you've got tattoos, haven't you? Like, it's not going like into a normal tattoo studio where it's a bit dark and dingy and it smells like Dettol and, it's not like that. I've got a bright, open, airy room. I've got candles lit. I've got incense going. There's crystals that fill the room. And the first thing that you're offered as soon as you walk through the door is, do you want a cuppa? Come on, do you know what I mean? Not a cuppa. I'm from Yorkshire.
Get a Yorkshire tea
I
on
know.
go.
I'm from Yorkshire. That's the one thing that I feel like unites the UK.
Brilliant.
Is a proper cuppa. And I'm from Yorkshire, so I can make a proper
It's got
brew.
to be banging,
That's the one thing that we do. Like, if something's, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's feeling low, slap up the kettle on. Yeah. That's what you will always. That's what you will always get from me. You will always get time. None of my appointments are ever rushed. It shouldn't be that way. And I think because, again, this is my own business now, there's nobody like in the NHS to be like, oh, you shouldn't really be doing that, or we've got to stick to these. No, because it's my time and it's how I want to run things. And that's how it should be.
And that's, you're absolutely right. So, that then, how now, this is really good to actually touch on. I love the brew, the cup, being able to do that. So now that you've come out of that side then, maybe obviously you have felt trapped before, and now you've come out of the side where you've got a bit of life on your terms and a bit more freedom, I guess.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel that you know that you can live that life?
Oh, it's the thing that, again, it's another thing that keeps me going.
Right.
So even though some weeks, like when I work out my overheads, I've probably not even broken even. As a businesswoman, take that out of there. But from a me perspective, I'm like, I don't really care. Yeah. I've done good today. Pat yourself on the back. I'm not really bothered. I've made a difference today. I've made somebody smile. I've made somebody feel whole and complete. I'm not really bothered. Taking the businesswoman out, you know what I mean? Taking the business outside of things.
Yeah.
Is there's nobody to tell me, oh, you shouldn't be, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing something like that for people. But you shouldn't be spending that much time. I can do that on my own terms, and it's not frowned upon. It's in the NHS, we should be very professional and You shouldn't stay in contact with patients. I can't help if I happen to magically bump into a patient in Tesco. I can't help that. If they've invited me around for a if they've invited me around for a brew. Yeah, if they've invited me around for a brew, I can't help that, you know?
No.
I can't help that. That's above the universe. That they've done that to me. But I can do this on my own terms now. And the amount of clients that I've got now that are now just friends.
Oh, that's so
and
good.
I know all about the journeys and stuff that they've been through, and they'll ask me about certain treatments. Like I don't mean like medical treatments, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know if this steroid? What's this going to be like? Oh, can I ask you? Have you ever had this pain med before? Is it meant to make me feel that way? And I can answer. Oh yeah, in my experience, X, Y, Z. So I still get to be a nurse and use my skills, but I get to. I'm probably helping the NHS out a little bit, really.
I think you massively are. I mean, the fact that, again, just going back to what you were saying about your clients and that personal side, you're being yourself. You know, the fact that you can drop that guard of being strictly professional and being conditioned or feeling trapped and you've got to follow these certain rules and regulations. Like, yes, you've got an element to that, but I can sense that you're just this inner child that just wants to come out and just, look, I'm just being me here and, you know, I'm just going to blow dry your hair on shift and I'm just going to do that and make you a cuppa and that's who I am and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But now you're now actually showing and displaying to people that maybe are watching this right now and going, my gosh, what an amazing person, great energy. The fact that you've been able to step out, go against the grain, even when the world's against you. You know, I'm going to say that because it probably did feel like that, especially when you was at your lowest point as well. And you're following your dreams, you know, you're following it and you're showing that if you're that passionate about something, you go out and get it. And I think that's what I would love the audience to take that away today, especially from your journey and the fact that you're also raising awareness for people when you don't know what you don't know, and there is things out there that, you know, it doesn't discriminate, and it's just important to be aware of it, and I think that's brilliant. So I just wanted to piece that out there.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, because it is good. I mean, listening and hearing it, and I know Ollie's in here as well, and he's been nodding his head and stuff. I know he's engaged, and it is really nice to hear your perspective, but also the reasons that's brought you to where you are, which I think is really good. But we are unfortunately getting towards the end of the episode. Right. I know, it's mad, isn't it? But honestly, it's been so insightful. Like, I've just sat back and just been like, whoa. But good. And I know everyone who's kind of who's going to watch this back for time, you know, because this will just be constantly on here. They'll be blown away. So yeah, we're getting to the final part of the episode now, and this is a question. It's what I ask everybody, really. So I'd just love to hear kind of your view on it, especially after what you shared today. So, Emma, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the process of mastering my own life at the moment and juggling business and personal life, but probably making the most of the time that we do have whilst we're here and living life to the full. That's the only way that I can explain it, because I'm in the moment. At the moment, I'm in the process of mastering my life.
Yeah, but that's great.
Living with purpose, basically.
Yeah. So what you've said, obviously in the episode 10, and this is an extension, I guess, of the question, really, because I want to ask you this because I just think it kind of ties in well what you shared. What makes you whole?
Oh. Knowing that I've helped people and that I've been kind, I would say.
Yeah?
Knowing that I make somebody feel good makes me feel good.
Really? But that's amazing. But what other than that, though, for you? Like, what makes you... Like, because obviously, remember, they're coming to you. They're coming, like, with obviously maybe no nipples. You know, you're going on there, you're doing that you've made them feel a certain way. Aside that, what actually makes you feel whole?
I would say probably being loved for authentically being myself. And loving myself authentically as well, because it's taken probably a good 31 years to get to that stage, and I can actually say that I'm confident in who I am, and I love the person that I'm becoming, and I get excited to think about where I'll be in future.
Oh, that's really nice. That by the way was just like the best. I mean, from a personal though and professional level, because it's just nice to flip it on its head a little bit, because obviously, you know, you're doing it, you're giving to them, and I know you're such a giving person, but at the same time, it's what makes you inside as well for your whole. So that was really nice. So look, if people are watching this today and they're like, Emma, you know what, you're such an amazing person. I want to find you online. I want to connect with you. I just want to chat to you because you are so like warm and welcoming. I feel that from you. So where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I am at The Sixth House, which is the name of my business with an X on the end.
Nice.
And then I am, if you want to follow my personal journeys, which is mostly me cooking, working night shifts, which it won't be by the time this goes out.
Yes.
Traveling the world, meditating, being at one with nature. I am at The Nipple Nurse with an X on the end. And if you want to find me on LinkedIn, I think I'm just Emma Roberts at The Sixth House.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Well, look, we'll put all that in the show notes, all the handles and everything. So people will be able to find you. But look, final thing from me, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And obviously, I'm not going to say I wish you all the best because it's going to happen. But good luck with everything.
Oh, no, thank you very much for having me. And thank you as well, Ella.
Brilliant. There we go. Well done.
High five, we did it.
Amazing. He's
never going to voice note me again now. He's like, right, that's it, friendship over.
It. She said this. She was like, "Is that it then? Is after the podcast? Are you going to be like, never going to voice note me again?" I'm like, so thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to our episode. If you've got any feedback or any questions for us as in regards to our in-person podcast episodes, just either drop a comment below, send us a message, and we would love to hear any sort of feedback, and we'll respond within 24 hours and make sure that the next episode is invaluable to your ears. Take care.